There's one thing that Jesus never said. It's this: follow me and it'll be easy. He did not outline the top 5 actions we can take to ease into the life of a carefree Christ follower. He did say, whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross daily and follow me. Following Jesus means being sent, being stretched, and sometimes it involves suffering too. Today, I invite you to look back a bit earlier at 2 sections of Luke that are connected and also help us transition to the end of the story. We'll start with chapter 10, verses 1 through 24. Now this is a section of Luke after the 12 disciples have been called and given power. It's after they've fed 5,000 people with just 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. It's after Jesus has healed a boy who's tormented by a demon. After we learn that Jesus is set toward Jerusalem, where he knows he'll face suffering and rejection. In Luke 10, we read that Jesus appoints 72 others. In some translations, it's 70. And he sends them 2 by 2 ahead of him to every town and place where he was about to go. Notice that these aren't the 12 disciples. They aren't some elite board of recruits. They're just regular people entrusted with power and purpose. But Jesus doesn't give them a pep talk that you might expect. Instead, he says, "Go, I am sending you out like lambs among wolves. Do not take a purse or bag or sandals. Do not greet anyone on the road." Yikes. No backup option, Jesus? But guess what? They go. They go without access to TripAdvisor reviews, without knowing whether the Airbnb owner has a superhost status. They even go without luggage and shoes. They simply do what Jesus asks: to go, to trust, to obey. We read in verse 17 that in the midst of this undesirable circumstance, even the 70, they return to Jesus with joy. They start to brag even that the demons, which could be interpreted as those who were seen as unclean, were willing to follow Jesus. But Jesus says, no, stop. The 70, he stops them in their moment of pride. The journey of being a Jesus follower does not mean we boast in what we accomplish. Later, in chapter 14, Jesus goes to eat at the house of a prominent Pharisee, and he goes on the day of Sabbath, a day that according to law was meant for rest. And so in the midst of this, Jesus raises questions about healing someone who's truly sick or saving someone from harm on the Sabbath. And the Pharisees, we read, are silent. They just can't reconcile how Jesus could offer help to someone when it goes against their understanding of the law, of what was presumably right. Discipleship, following Jesus, it's sometimes about doing the right thing. In chapter 14, it ends with Jesus telling us that there is a cost to being a disciple, just like the smart builder who would begin a project first by estimating how much the building would cost, or a military leader who would determine whether troops should be sent into battle or if a peace delegation should instead be sent. Jesus says, just like this, there is a cost to discipleship. In the same way, those of you who do not give up everything you have cannot be my disciples. Wow. Now remember, this is the journey to Jerusalem, the road Jesus walked toward the cross. And we see through these 2 sections of Luke that he invites us on that road too. Not because Jesus wants us to suffer all the time, but because he wants us to grow. Sometimes discipleship does mean leaving comfort, surrendering control. Other times it means abandoning our ideas of what's right for the sake of another person's health or healing. So today, as you read your Bibles and you think about discipleship, I wonder, where is Jesus asking you to go or to trust him, even when the path feels uncertain or uncomfortable? Or put another way, what might Jesus be calling you to give up or to reevaluate in order to follow him more fully? Maybe it's letting go of something that seems right or feels good, but is hurting the people around you. Maybe the path of discipleship means sharing your faith when it's hard. Maybe it means serving someone who's difficult. Count the cost, yes, but then take the step. And remember, you're not taking that step alone.